Alright, so I'm already running late on making a video. However, I'm pretty sure this will be out by Sunday, like all of my videos are. I wanted to talk about mood and emotions. However, I haven't really, as I said, I'm kind of late. Haven't gotten around to plan enough of it, so this is just going to be off the tip of the lip, the stick of the tongue, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just going to basically be talking about mood. Later on in the video we might go over a little few tips on visualization that I don't think that I've mentioned that are very important to your magic. If you are using sigils or candles, etc., whatever type you are doing, or if you don't know what that is, you know, the law of attraction. When you're using the law of attraction, it'll help you out. Either way, let's get into this video. Okay, so the microphone wasn't on before, but it is now, so that'll be great. Now, a lot of people are moody. You know, we are human beings. It's just a part of our nature. There's the emotional side. However, moods are not emotions. They're a little bit smaller. Now, some people experience a wide array of emotions. Some experience only a few. I know some people who commonly express anger on a daily basis. Some that, you know, are sad all the time. And, you know, of course, there are people who are in depression. Now, a lot of the things I talk in this video are not going to help you fix depression. You should go see a therapist. But before you go see a therapist, you should be motivated to actually want to change. A lot of people who go to a therapist aren't ready to change and nothing gets done. You have to be ready. But other than that, you know, people with depression, another side effect of depression is really low serotonin levels. So you can look up there's all kinds of different foods and different carbohydrates and this and that you can go take. I think you can take B6 and B12, that helps with that. But there's a lot of ways to up the serotonin, which will actually boost your mood. So for those who aren't in depression, if you want to take some of those, I know one of them is exercising. In my opinion, any type of ritual, any type of exercise, even cleaning, tends to give me a good effect, to be honest. You know, if you add if you also swapping out things that you're doing, different exercises, different daily rituals that you're doing, you know, there's people that go to the mirror and they have a little speech to themselves, you know. If you're one of those people that do that, you know, switch it up the way you do it, or maybe switch mirrors. Swapping things up is definitely to get you out of a certain loop. So a lot of people stay in loops, a lot of people get stuck in loops, a lot of people change loops but then go back to the same loop. Enough about that though. So the people that experience all these emotions, well, actually, back to what I was saying, rituals. You know, we were just talking about dream work, and, you know, first thing in the morning, write down your dreams. That's something that you can, if you don't do that, add that. Now, that's not going to make you happy. It's not like, you know, it's like in health when they tell you to, you know, wash your hands, you know, do certain things, taking care of your teeth. Now, it's not going to keep away big diseases, like washing your hands will not stop cancer, but there's a lot of, you know, the common cold, the flu, these little minor things that they tell us to focus on, you know, getting the certain amount of protein in our diet, this and that, these will help. And so with these mental exercises, with mental rituals, they also slowly help. They get us in a mode of operation. See, a lot of people that I notice who stay in moods, whether it is a wide array or not, a lot of these people are drifting. Now, you can learn more about drifting if you go read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, but I'm going to talk about a little bit of my opinion about people that drift. Now, a lot of people that I see drifting don't have a life philosophy. I'm not talking about a certain mode of spirituality. I'm not talking about a religion. I'm meaning they don't have this concept of what life is to them. A lot of them, they have no clue. I'm just here to do this and then move on. There are very few people who do have philosophical and their own life views that do fall into this. It's not that you're going to just pick something and wham, there you go. But I do notice a big portion of these people that stay in different moods are just walking around like zombies. They're clocking into work, clocking out of work, scrolling through Facebook for 6 hours out of the day, and then sleeping, and then repeating the next day. And so when it comes to your mood, you have to do things. As I said, one way to boost serotonin levels is to exercise. Start exercising for 10 minutes a day. There's all kinds of exercises you can do right next to your bed. You got push-ups, sit-ups. You can go buy any type of dumbbells, any weights. There's very small weights that, one of the ones that I have, you can set the setting on it. And so I think it can go from like 10 pounds to being like 75 pounds or something like that, or 75 on each side. I don't know. but it does keep me in a daily exercise, even if I can only get about 10 minutes in at the beginning or the end of the day. See, doing these things, getting yourself moving, I talk about taking action a lot. It does a lot for a person. You know, if you're just stagnating, if you're just drifting through life, you're going to be caught up more in your own mood. And your mood comes from the way that you think, believe it or not. As I said, everything begins in the mind. Now, psychologically, this can be debated, as there have been proven results that some things can happen in the body and then it stimulates the mind and then we experience the emotion. I just see another manifestation of as within, so without, as without, so within, the repeating cycle. And so, don't do things that are harming your body. If, you're drinking till you black out every night, you're probably going to be depressed. You're not going to be the happiest person alive. There are functioning alcoholics out there. However, if you're dealing with being moody all the time, which is going to affect whenever you're trying to do the law of attraction. They say to hit a certain vibration. If you just go for one day, to a higher vibration and, you wanting to cast for money, you cast a sigil and, you're feeling real grateful all day. You feel good about the ritual. You've already let it go. You're in a positive mindset, and then something happens and you're back to square one. It doesn't work like that. You have to keep it going. Now, this is really hard. Now, I don't expect anybody to constantly stay positive all the time. Staying positive all the time has backlashes. It's not the best thing. And I know that I talk good about positive thinking, but as I said, you have to be non-judgmental. You can't see things as good or bad. And so this kind of gets in the way when you do try to think positively, because you're like, well, what's positive? What's the negative? And so when people are saying to stay positive, what they're really trying to get you to do is, like, let's say you're sad about a breakup. And so you can turn it and transmute it into something else as, now I'm free to do my own thing. When I hear from people that I know who just got out of a relationship, whether it was really good or really bad, they don't like to hear it, but I tell them this is a great time to work on yourself. You see, when I wanted to turn things all around, I was in a relationship, so it was kind of hard. And when you're changing yourself, this can kind of create this influx between you and your partner, because it is a change to your personality. It is a change for what they originally saw in you, for what they, came to love you for. However, though, people do grow, and, if you do lose a relationship on the way, it's okay, you've got better things. But for people who get out of a bad relationship, it's a perfect time to work on yourself. I'm getting off track, so let's go back to what I was talking about. So, you're in a bad mood and they tell you to, think positively. So you think of it in a lighter way. Now this works, and it works, and it works, and it works, and it works until it doesn't work. Everybody hits rock bottom and it sucks. And that's why in one of my last videos I was talking about, or when you're in debt or when this shit's happening, to learn from it. You have to understand that it's a part of you. It's a part of your experience. You need to soak it in. A lot of people want to push out what's bad about them and just be positive and pull in. But you really need both. You need that equal and opposite force. You see, you learn this in physics. This is necessary in everything, though. Now, a lot of moods come from underlying problems within the mind. You see, everybody has subconscious blocks. As we've talked about emotional blocks before, some people don't even know. Some people, they're like, I don't know why I just get all angry all the time. I don't know why I just get sad all the time. I don't know why I feel like I'm dying. And so, I talk about casting sigils, and it's a great way to manifest things, specifically physically, but also internally. What sigils can do for you internally is amazing, because that's what a sigil is. What a sigil is it's rewriting the subconscious programming. You see, you act out the way your paradigm is formed. You see, you act within the bounds of your own paradigm. And so when you charge a sigil, what you're doing is you're changing that subconscious programming. Now, and so you're like, then how the hell does that manifest something physically? Well, it gets a little bit deeper. But if you've already started casting sigils, you already know that shit works. But things that are internal work even better, even faster, in my opinion, depending on the resistance. I've noticed that things will come a little bit slower if I have more mental resistance towards it. Like if I said, I will never quit doing this, and then I cast to quit doing that, it might take a little bit longer because I have that mental resistance and I know it. And so you might have already casted for things that you know you should do, but inside your mind you don't want to do. And don't worry, those things do come. But if you're casting for something internally, You see, when I was talking about people's emotions are based on things that they don't know. They don't know why I react this way, you know? There's always this seed within their mind. Now, here's what you can do. And as I've said, sigils manifest in the least expected way. And so I'm going to warn you about doing this. So what you do is you just cast a sigil. The statement of intent could be something around the lines of, I will to cast, or I shine light on suppressed emotions, or cast for suppressed emotions to come to the surface, something along those lines. Now, if you don't know what this is, this can hit you when you're not expecting it. This could hit you while you're in traffic. You could, a lot of people, there's a lot of bad shit that happens in the past, and you might have pushed it to the side, and you're like, it doesn't even have to do with that. And you're in a group of people, and someone says something, and that's when the spark hits. And so when working with your emotions, especially suppressed ones, and you cast a sigil, I'm warning you, you won't know when it's going to come. It's going to be very random. And so, usually when you're coming into terms with things of that nature, you want to be alone, you want to be private, or you want to be with somebody special, somebody that you trust. But when casting a sigil and you're wanting this to manifest, you're wanting to find out, you might not be around the best people. You might not be in the best situation. It does work, but I'm warning you. But going back to what we were talking about a good few minutes ago, we've talked about filtering in the positive and negative thoughts. A lot of people are in this emotional state or this mood. They're not the same thing. Keep that in mind. And they reflect or mimic their negative thinking patterns. If you're walking into work every day and, the secretary, Sally, you're thinking inside your head that she hates you because of the way she looks in the morning. And you keep thinking that, that starts to come across in your body language. Your self-esteem goes down a little bit, You might act in aggression towards her when she says something to you, but you never find out she's acting that way because, she's not a morning person, or her husband beats her before work in the morning. People always assume, and I know that you've been in situations where you're trying to be nice to a person and you come across as an asshole. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And so with your negative thought patterns that are going on all the time, they're reflecting in your mood. This is why we filter in the thoughts. Now, this exercise comes from Frederick Xavier over at Mind and Magic, and I have not stressed enough on how much you should go and watch every single video of his. But basically, what the exercise is, if you've never heard it before on this channel, anytime you get a positive thought, you treat it as an offer to either accept or reject. Well, you do it to every thought, not every positive thought. So every thought that you have, take it as an offer from your own mind. Ones that you like, ones that are positive, you're going to accept usually. Negative, you're going to reject. Hold the fuck up, Hayden. Didn't you just talk about how we shouldn't pull in the positive and push out the negative? Well, yes, but only whenever you get into a centered position to where you can pull those things in. You see, if you're constantly in the negative loop, you're already over here. And so you do need to step back before you can pull and utilize them. Because as we've gone over in the Hermetic law of gender, you need the masculine, the feminine, you need the positive, the negative to create new life. You need to utilize both sides. You see, people in high power in politics know this. They work through the law of polarity, which, I don't know why I haven't made a video about that yet. I really should. I want to talk about it right now in the sense that we're going. So let's take love and hate. Two seemingly opposite things, but they're really the same thing. And I think of all emotions this way. You can be on one side of the scale. You can be very angry, the other side being happy, right? Now, you have the choice. A lot of people don't think they have choice, but you have the choice whether to be offended or whether to be flattered by anything of that matter. And so you really have the choice to move between the poles of love and hate, anger and sadness, this and that, light and dark, whatever you want to call it. And so when somebody comes at you and you understand these things, you understand that you don't need to be offended because it really doesn't matter. A lot of people get emotionally invested in things, and there's that word again, emotion. You need to work on your moods. You need to filter in these thoughts so that you get out of the negative thought patterns, so then the negative emotions aren't coming in. The negative moods aren't coming in. You're not as moved. You're not as pushed from side to side. This is the importance of grounding exercises, believe it or not. Go look up a bunch. There's tons of them online. I want to mention another thing on the law of polarity while I'm talking about love and hate. Let's take relationships. You know, you can have that person who loves you all the way on the 10 scale. You know, you got 0, you got 10, and then -10. They can love you all the way on the 10, but you know, you get in a fight with them or you piss them off enough, you do them wrong, dirty enough, they can fly from that 10 of love to a 10 of hate. And you can see it within the fights. And a lot of people, you know, they wonder why they get in so many fights with their, you know, spouses. You see, the energy's there. Love and hate are the same things. You see, this is why it's easier for me to pick up a chick if she kind of isn't, how should I, that was a bad way of putting it. Basically, I could pick up a chick way easier if she hated me. Why? Because the energy is already there. The emotion is already there. All I have to do is transmute it. You see, when you become centered and you are able to move between the poles, I'll tell you, it's way easier to start moving other people between the poles because the other people are so easily moved. You can say something, they set you off. Now, are you one of these people? Are you one of these people that other people control? You see, a lot of people let other people control their emotions, and a lot of people do this because they don't have control over their emotions. That's the point of this video. You see, when you are faced with a thought, whether it's about yourself, which, speaking of, when you have a thought about yourself, you're creating this astral self-image of yourself. You're creating yourself to where you want to be. I've heard of different exercises such as, you know, before bed, visualize you as the person you want to be. I've also heard doing this in the shower while you're cleaning yourself to clean yourself from, you know, visualize how you look in the day compared to, you know, as you're washing yourself off, your newer self. And so over the cycle of months, you know, you get a roll and it starts manifesting. Now, I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video talking about visualization. Now, when I say visualization, everyone thinks of visual, you know, things that you see with your eyes. A lot of people have trouble with visualization, and I don't know why I've never mentioned this, but as I've said, I think you have to bring other senses into it. But I think that's as far as I went. So what do I mean by this? See, someone might be better at smelling rather than using their eyes. Someone could probably smell the difference between a yellow triangle and a red square. And you're like, what the hell? That doesn't make sense. Well, you're probably not one of those people. You see, this is why people that do a lot of hallucinogens will be like, I felt sound, or I saw sound, and I could smell colors. You see, you don't need the hallucinogens to do that. A lot of people have these abilities. Everybody has the ability. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So if you're not good at visualizing and seeing it, which you should not concentrate too hard, that's, you know, you're not really meditating at that point, which there's many ways to meditate, which is why I don't really talk about it enough, but, you know, I've said that enough that I should just probably give my own opinion on it sometime and probably in a few videos. But you might be better at hearing things. You know, you imagine how much money you have in the bank. Now, you might not be able to visualize and see that as you sitting at your computer while the money's rolling in. You might hear that better. You might visualize that easier by sitting down and you hear, you know, tones going off on your phone for every sale you make. You know, experiment with the different senses. You see, once you start working on your mood, then you can start visualizing with feeling. And that is when things change. See, when you can feel the moment, you know, this is why the law of attraction goes so much over vibration. You see, if you're moody, a lot of people are just flipping through vibrations, not on their own accord or at their own will. They're not controlling their emotional state. And so once you can control your emotional state, when you are doing your magic, you can actually go in and you can change your emotional state from whatever it is. You might have had a stressful day and you're just worn out from work, and you sit down and you can turn that emotion into gratitude for casting for money. You know, you can turn that into love or lust. You can start moving between the poles at will rather than just being flipped back and forth like life likes to do to people. You see, life will test you this way, and it's why I've said it's up to you on the way you take it. It's up to you under which pole you lie on. A lot of people talk about depolarizing and, you know, it's all about going to middle. No, it's about going where you want to be, where you want your natural state to be, your emotional state, your mental state. Because some people like pain. A lot of people like pleasure, but there are some people that like pain. And so for someone to say that, oh, being perfectly balanced is right in the middle. Not for all people. Not for all people. And so I want you to experiment with different visualization techniques. I want you to sit down and I want you to try to, let's take a dice. You know, we were talking about casting for red dice. I never even gave you all the sigil for it, but whatever. Try to visualize red dice. You can go out and buy yourself one, set it on a table, look at it for 2-3 minutes, close your eyes and then do it. Remove the dice, do it with your eyes open. I've heard exercises talking about, you know, try to see what the dice looks like from the other side while looking at that side. Pretty hard to do, but with practice, obviously it'll get easier. I haven't done that exercise, so I can't really talk for it. But, you know, you take a dice, 8-ball, any simple object. You visualize it with sight. You don't put too much energy into it. You just know it's there in your mind. That's all you have to do. You know, where attention goes, energy flows. And then after you do that, I want you to just hear it. Now, you might not know what to do, and you might start thinking, am I doing it right, blah, blah, blah. Stop doing that. That's when you stop meditating, when you start questioning yourself and critiquing yourself. You just calm down, just hear it. Even if you don't even hear anything, it's just silence. Just keep that. Next, move to taste. Imagine what it would taste like. And then imagine the smell. You know, if it's a dice, you know, it might have that plastic smell. You know, some people can bring up smell very easily. You know, the subconscious mind doesn't know true from false. This is why in hypnotherapy, when they'll give you the lemon exercise and they'll talk you down through, you know, going through your kitchen, you know, they tell you to close your eyes. They're like, you know, you imagine that you're in your kitchen. You go to the fridge, you look in there, you look around, and then there's a yellow lemon. And a yellow lemon is really distinct to visualize. And a lot of people, including myself, the moment I saw the lemon, I started to smell the lemon. And so, next in the visualization, they walk you through pulling it out, grabbing a knife, and then cutting it in half. Now, when it cut in half, I could smell it even better. And that's not even the point of this walkthrough. I mean, it is, but it wasn't whenever it was done to me. And so after that, they take you through some few other things. Other people do it differently. They don't have you take a bite of it. They have you put it up to your mouth, visualizing it. Now, you don't actually, but you sit there and you visualize your hand coming up to your mouth, and you're almost about to take a bite. And at the end of the exercise, they tell you, you know, notice how much your mouth is watering, as if you were actually hungry, as if you saw the food. And yes, my mouth was watered. And so if you can go look, I don't know what it's actually called, but if you can find that exercise, and if there's an audio recording online of it, check it out. But your mind doesn't know true from false, and so it'll actually create it physically in your body. And so when you can move between the poles, when you can change your mood, you can start to actually get your mind in the zone. You can actually start to feel it, and it's completely different from just hearing about it because you get to experience it. That's where true knowledge comes from, and it's why that I said that I want viewers who take action. I don't want them to just listen to me and talk to their friends about how cool it is and this and that, and, you know, do it. Actually do the exercises. I've probably given 1.5 years worth of exercises for you to do. There's billions of articles, there's billions of books and videos everywhere for you to check out, okay? And so, when it comes to working with your mood, I didn't want to go over what many people go about online. You know, the normal things, as I said earlier in the video, boosting serotonin through different ways, through diet, exercise, this and that. These are just ways that have worked for me. You see, one of the things that I also do daily is I have a really good laugh. I find something in the morning or at the end of the day, sometimes both, that makes me laugh to the point that I'm crying. And that's something that I've done for about 6 years now. And I don't know the deeper psychology to what it does. You know, we've all heard the whole, you know, you're in a bad mood, it ruins your immune system for 3 hours. If you laugh or have a good laugh, it boosts your immune system for 5 days. There's a lot of pseudo psychology that goes around a lot, and I know this. It's why I honestly don't try to talk too deeply about it, because there's a lot of bullshit being thrown around. It's like the fake Buddha quotes. But I wanted to go over a few things like that, a few things that no one's really talking about. You know, develop some rituals. You know, clean. Start organizing. You know, if you organize your room, that enough can create positive mood within you. Now, I know it sucks, but dude, when it's done, it feels fucking great. You know how much, you know, My girlfriend the other week actually was watching some video about, you know, because she's into whatever is on the newsfeed of YouTube. It was a bunch of people doing organization challenge, calling people to organize their homes. And I watched a few with her, and the amount of space that, you know, so much room for activities. You know, a lot of people need to be doing things with their life other than just drifting. You know, this is why I'm so about finding a purpose, because when you have something to work for, you don't really have time to meddle in your emotions. If I'm ever meddling in my emotions, I don't get shit done, and I know a lot of people don't either. And that's another thing about depression, is that when you're depressed, you're like not moving. You know, you're sleeping all day. It's everything's dead. You know, this is why people feel like they're dying when they're going through depression. But video isn't supposed to fix depression. It's to show you that you do have the choice. You don't have to be offended at everything. Once you start finding your center, you won't even find your center until you're able to move and not be moved by life. Don't take things as good or bad, you know. And this is why I wanted to make this video, because a lot of people don't put it like that. Now, this might only help a select few, but that's why I'm trying to make so many videos, because each little bit helps. And so, without that, I think that's pretty much it. If I left anything out, I'll probably save it for a few videos for now. I tend to do that sometimes. Either way, I've already got the next 3 videos planned out. The next one, we're going to be going over some mindset, which I know I go over a lot on, but there's only a few videos that I've actually totally focused on the mindset, like the millionaire mindset one. This one, we're going to go over specific fuckers, specifically the fuckers that like to fuck the system, all right? I was one of these people, so this is going to be a little fun. You know, all you conspiracy theorists out there, or not even you know, you hate the government, you hate whatever, just a lot of these people that are not in control. They're mad because they're not in control, and if they felt like they were in control, they would be in control. And they wouldn't be bitching about those who control them. Either way, and then after that, I'm pretty sure, actually, I'll save that for next time. Either way, you already know what to do. I will for you all to prosper, and have a great day.